I still remember the first night I saw him. An old golden retriever sitting by the roadside, his fur silvered by dust and moonlight. The way he stared down that empty road, it was like he was waiting for someone he loved, someone who wasn't coming back. Every evening since then, I'd pass that stretch in my delivery truck, headlights brushing over his thin frame, tail giving a faint wag as if my engine rumble gave him a sliver of hope. And every time I'd whisper to myself, he's still waiting. There was something about him that got under my skin. Maybe because I, too, was waiting for something I'd lost long ago. The road curved along the edge of town, where the wheat fields swayed like a tired ocean. No houses for miles, just one rusted mailbox and a crumbling barn that looked ready to fold in on itself. That's where he sat, every night. Always the same spot, always the same look. I'd slow the truck down each time. Sometimes I'd leave a bit of food by the ditch, but he never ate it while I watched. He'd just sit there, eyes on the horizon, the wind tugging gently at his ears. At first I thought he belonged to someone nearby. Maybe a farmer, maybe a drifter who'd moved on. But then one night the gas station clerk told me, "You seen that old mutt near mile marker 21? He's been there for years. Used to belong to a guy who hauled lumber. Died in a wreck one winter. Dog's been waiting ever since." I didn't say anything, but my chest tightened like a fist had closed around it. Weeks passed, then months. Rain came, then frost, but the dog stayed. Some nights I'd see him limping, other nights lying down but still facing the same direction. There's a kind of silence that only exists on empty roads, where the world feels paused, and you can hear your own heart trying to fill the quiet. That's what it felt like whenever I saw him. I started keeping extra scraps from my late-night deliveries, bits of chicken, bread, sometimes a piece of jerky. I'd park a few feet away, leave the food, and talk softly through the open window. "Hey, buddy, you don't have to wait anymore." He'd tilt his head but never move closer, just waiting, always waiting. Some part of me admired it, another part pitied it, but mostly, it haunted me. One night, after a long route, I decided to stop for real. The air was thick with the smell of wet earth and diesel. I killed the engine, grabbed my flashlight, and stepped out. He didn't run, didn't growl, just sat there, his eyes glinting in the beam, tired but kind. When I crouched down, I saw the collar, faded leather, rusted tag. It read, "Buddy." I remember whispering his name aloud, like I'd said it before. "Buddy." His ears perked up, and for a second I thought he recognized me. The next day, I asked around town. Turns out the man who'd owned him was a trucker, like me. Name was Ray. He used to drive that same route, same road, every night. Folks said he never missed a stop home, until the crash. They found the wreck a few miles down the highway, winter of '09. The truck went off the bend during a snowstorm. Buddy had been in the cab with him, thrown clear, barely survived. Since then, the dog had been coming back every night to that bend, where the headlights once disappeared. That night, I couldn't sleep. The image of him, waiting in the cold, wouldn't leave me. A week later, I brought him an old blanket from my truck. He sniffed it, then lay down with a sigh that sounded too human. I sat in the cab for a while, engine off, just listening to the night. And I don't know what came over me, but I said out loud, "Sometimes I think I know how you feel, old boy," because I did. My own son had stopped speaking to me 2 years back. One fight, one harsh word, and he walked out. I'd been waiting too, not by a road, but by a silent phone that never rang. The truth hit me like a mirror. Maybe we were both fools, two souls waiting for ghosts. Then came the storm. Rain like knives, wind that made the power lines sing. I was halfway through my route when I realized what night it was, the anniversary of Ray's accident. A gut feeling made me turn the truck around. When I reached the bend, the road was flooding. My headlights cut through the sheets of rain, and there he was, Buddy, soaked, shivering, still waiting. I jumped out, shouting over the thunder, "Buddy! Get in, boy, come on!" But he didn't move. He looked at me, not scared, not stubborn, just certain. Like he knew who he was waiting for, so I did something crazy. I opened the passenger door and whispered, "All right then. If you won't come to me, I'll wait with you." I sat on the wet ground beside him. We watched the rain fall where headlights used to appear. For the first time, he leaned against me, just a little, enough to feel the tremor of life still inside him. When dawn broke, the storm had passed. I left before sunrise, promising to come back that night. But deep down, I knew something had changed. Sometimes, when you sit beside another creature's pain long enough, it starts to heal a part of your own. That night, when I returned, Buddy wasn't there. Just the empty road, the rusted mailbox, and the blanket, soaked and crumpled where he used to sit. My heart sank. I got out and walked around, calling his name softly. Buddy! Hey, boy, nothing. Just the wind moving through the wheat. I thought maybe he'd wandered off. Maybe the storm finally broke him. But as I turned to leave, I noticed something near the ditch. A tire mark, an old photograph half buried in the mud. I picked it up. It was faded, water-damaged, a man in a trucker's cap, smiling beside a younger Buddy. On the back, written in smudged ink, "See you on the road, pal." I don't know why, but I looked up then, and for a split second, I swore I saw headlights in the distance. Just a flash, then gone. Maybe it was just another trucker, or maybe the one he'd been waiting for had finally come. The next few days felt heavier than usual. Every time I passed that road, I slowed down out of habit. My eyes searched the ditch, the bend, the patch of grass where he always sat. But there was nothing, just silence. And that hollow feeling that comes when something faithful is gone. I stopped my truck near the mailbox, turned off the engine, and sat there listening. The wind whispered through the wheat. A loose gate somewhere creaked like it was sighing. Then I noticed it, the faint jingle of a collar. I froze. I stepped out and followed the sound, heart thudding. Down near the old barn I found him, lying by the wooden fence, weak but breathing. His fur was matted, his paws caked in mud. But when he saw me, his tail gave one last, slow wag. "Buddy," I whispered, kneeling beside him. He blinked as if recognizing my voice, then looked toward the road. That same spot, where headlights used to appear, and that's when I heard it too. The low hum of an engine in the distance. It was early morning. Sunlight spilled like honey across the fields. The truck coming down the road wasn't mine. It was old, dented, but familiar. Same model, same color as in the photo I'd found. I stood up, half in disbelief. The engine slowed, then stopped right near the bend. For a long moment, everything was still. Then the door opened, and out stepped a man in a worn cap. He looked solid, quiet, maybe in his 40s. But what made my breath catch wasn't his face. It was the way Buddy reacted. The old dog lifted his head, eyes wide, tail trembling. A sound escaped him, half bark, half cry, and for the first time in years he struggled to his feet. "Buddy." "Hey, boy!" The man's voice cracked, full of warmth and disbelief. The dog stumbled toward him, every movement slow and painful, but determined. When they met in the middle of the road, it was like time itself had bent to make it happen. The man fell to his knees, hugging the dog close, whispering things I couldn't hear, but didn't need to. You could feel it. The kind of love that doesn't end, it just waits. I didn't move, didn't speak. Part of me wanted to believe what I was seeing. Another part knew it was impossible. Ray had died years ago, and yet there they were, bathed in that strange golden morning light, as if the world had folded in on itself just for them. When the light shifted, I blinked, and the road was empty again. No truck, no man, only Buddy lying peacefully on the dirt, eyes closed, a faint smile in his expression. I knelt beside him, throat tight. The sun climbed higher, painting the world in soft gold, and I swear, for a moment, I could still hear that engine fading into the horizon. I buried him by the fence that evening, wrapped him in the same blanket he used to sleep on, set the old photo beside him, and carved his name into a wooden plank. Buddy, he waited. When I was done, I just sat there watching the last light disappear behind the fields. And somehow the quiet didn't feel so lonely anymore. Sometimes love doesn't die. It just changes shape, becomes wind or sunlight or a memory that waits by the roadside until it's time to go home. A week later, I got a letter in the mail. No return address, just my name written in unfamiliar handwriting. Inside was a single photo, the same old truck parked by the bend at sunset. And beside it, Buddy, looking up, tail wagging. On the back it said, "Thank you for keeping him company. He's home now." That night I drove the route again. The road was quiet, but somehow warmer. When I passed mile marker 21, I slowed down and smiled. "Good night, Buddy," I whispered. The wind shifted, brushing against the truck like a gentle pat on the shoulder. And for the first time in a long time, I didn't feel like I was waiting anymore. Sometimes the ones we lose find their way back, not to stay, but to remind us that loyalty doesn't vanish with death. It lingers, quietly, faithfully, until we learn to let go. If this moment broke your heart too, drop a heart below. Do you believe animals wait for us even after we're gone?